Kurt Angle has made his choice. Well, he made WWE's choice for who his final opponent will be at WrestleMania. And no, it is not John Cena. At least not yet. He said there are lots of men that he would like to wrestle, but only one that he wanted to beat. The man who made his life a living hell when he was the general manager of Monday Night Raw. And that man is Baron Corbin. Baron fucking Corbin. Jeremy Corbin would have made for a more interesting opponent. How's that for a WrestleMania match? Kurt Angle against Jeremy Corbin in the battle for Brexit at WrestleMania. Sign me up. Nothing would make me happier, Kurt said, than making Corbin tap out at WrestleMania. If there's nothing in your life that would make you more happier than to wrestle Baron Corbin, you should probably see a therapist. There's been a lot of heated debate about this throughout the week. I was not a fan of this decision. That's me being polite when I say that. And it might make sense storyline-wise. I know there are people who are going to try to make sense of this and go, wait a minute, this makes total sense. Storyline-wise, right? Corbin was a thorn in this guy's side for so long. Of course, the blow-off, the payoff at WrestleMania is Kurt Angle in his final match standing tall with his arm raised high in the air with a big victory, or worse. There'll be people who say, well, no, Kurt Angle shouldn't win. Baron Corbin's the new guy. Baron Corbin's the young buck, and he should get the big win. He should get the rub from Kurt Angle, and he should win at WrestleMania, as if that would be even better, right? That's an even better outcome to all this. Corbin's his final opponent, and Corbin beats him at WrestleMania. Oh yeah, that's what people are dying to see. This is the trilogy that nobody asked for. They wrestled on Raw the night after TLC in December. Angle pinned him with the Angle Slam. Then they wrestled again on Raw the night after the Royal Rumble. That time Corbin pinned him with the Deep Six. So this would be the rubber match. I've never wanted something to end in a tie more than this feud here. The crowd in Chicago, they gave this the appropriate reaction. One of disgust and disappointment, the standard formula for Monday Night Raw. You could just see the look on Kurt's face. He knew it was a stink bomb from the moment he dropped it. But he had to go out on Instagram after the show to try to explain his decision away. He said, my farewell match will be against Baron Corbin at WrestleMania. I realize it's not the most popular decision from a fan's perspective, but I'm going to make Corbin tap out on the biggest stage of them all. Baron's a legit tough guy. It won't be easy, but it never is. Kurt's own wife, Giovanna, pulled the old tweet and delete this week. She said the fans chanting, we want Cena, we feel ya. And then after Jim Ross chimed in, he said he thought Angle's pick was underwhelming. She quoted his tweet with the word very. But then she deleted it. She was gotten to. I don't know if she was gotten to by probably her husband. Said, look, you're not doing me any favors here. You might want to take that down. Now, according to PW Insider, as of that night, for people who were thinking this is all part of a larger plan, it's all part of a larger swerve, calm down. As of that night, they checked with a whole bunch of people, and I would certainly hope things have changed since then, but the announcement was not intended to be a swerve. It was never intended to be a swerve. It was always meant to be Kurt Angle against Baron Corbin. Even though they told the announcers later in the show to go ahead and acknowledge the fact that the fans clearly did not like the move. They openly acknowledged this. Michael Cole was talking about the fan backlash to the decision. You would think, well, the fact that they're drawing attention to this must be an admission. Surely this is leading to a change in direction. But apparently that wasn't the case. And Angle against Corbin was absolutely the plan when that show went off the air last Monday night. This idea that Kurt Angle got to pick his own opponent at WrestleMania is purely storyline driven. Kurt himself was hoping for somebody more high profile to wrestle in his final match. So let me get this straight. The fans want John Cena. I mean, some fans had other choices. Not everybody wanted John Cena, but I would think the vast majority of the people who were chiming in on who they wanted to wrestle Kurt Angle were picking John Cena. The point is, though, nobody wanted Baron Corbin. Whoever your pick was, Cena or whoever it was, nobody wanted Baron Corbin. If we took a statistical study, if there is somebody out there listening to this right now who wanted Baron Corbin, who said, well, actually, Solomonster, I kind of wanted Baron Corbin. Let's assume that this person, for some god-awful reason, exists. Even if there is somebody out there who wanted to see Kurt Angle against Baron Corbin, it would not be enough to register higher than 0% in a scientific study. That's how few people wanted to see Kurt Angle against Baron Corbin on this show. Angle himself wanted somebody else, so what do? They send him out to the ring to announce Baron Corbin anyway. His own wife goes on social media and bashes it, and now Kurt is in the position where he has to go on social media to do damage control, and even worse, in this storyline, pretend it was all his choice. They're putting all the heat on him for the decision. And this is supposed to be Kurt Angle's grand send-off. These people are morons. Thankfully, according to the WrestleVotes account on Twitter, which they have had a few scoops so far this WrestleMania season, to their credit, especially on the Hall of Fame announcements. Not all of them have panned out, but a lot of them have. They claim that Angle against Corbin is now being reconsidered. WWE did not expect this type of negative reaction, and thus they don't want such a negative feel for Kurt Angle's final match. They might have saved themselves a lot of trouble by actually paying attention to their own social media, which did this informal poll before Raw last week asking the fans who they wanted Kurt Angle's opponent to be. Who do you think it's going to be? Who do you want his opponent to be? Corbin was listed, but so is John Cena, Samoa Joe, Drew McIntyre, Shelton Benjamin. John Cena was the clear favorite. Corbin was whatever the opposite of clear favorite would be. And yet they feign ignorance when it comes to the fan reaction. Oh, we had no idea. We had no idea the reaction would be this way. Who knew? How about you push power on your fucking computer? How about you turn on your phone? Wouldn't be that hard to find out. I knew. How is it that I knew and they didn't? What, do I have a mole on the inside? I don't have a mole on the inside. I have a mole on my ass. I don't have a mole on the inside. How is it that I know and you know these things, but they don't? John Cena is the only correct option. He checks all of the boxes. He's a high-profile name, like Kurt wanted, like I think a lot of people wanted. They have a history together. Kurt was Cena's first opponent, and Cena lost. Now Cena can be Kurt's last opponent, and Cena can get his win back, because I do think John Cena should win that match. Now, on Monday, we got Kurt Angle against Kurt Angle Jr., Chad Gable, which is a match that I've talked about. Yeah, I would love one. In a perfect world, great fantasy matchup, Kurt Angle against Chad Gable. And we got that match on Monday night, and it was really sad to watch. I thought Kurt looked terrible in this match. Gable had to slow himself to a crawl for this. By the end, it turned into a fun little glimpse. I mean, it got better towards the end. It was a little glimpse into what might have been had Gable come along years ago when Kurt could still be the old Kurt Angle. He ain't the old Kurt Angle no more. Gable tapped out to the ankle lock. But to me, this was more sad than anything else. And if they actually are planning on sticking with Corbin against Kurt Angle, maybe the idea is a quick squash because they don't think Kurt can go very long. But look, even still, if that's the reason why they chose to go with Corbin and not somebody higher profile, because they think Kurt can only have maybe a really good 5-minute match or something, you could do the same thing with John Cena. You could take anybody and have a really good 5-minute match if that's all they trust him with. I mean, hell, John Cena had a 3-minute match last year against The Undertaker. But this was just sad to watch. It was sad to watch because the Corbin announcement, first of all, killed that crowd dead. Those people were genuinely interested and genuinely excited to find out what Kurt Angle had to say. Whether it was Cena or some other big name. They were hanging on his every word, and they wanted as much as anybody to know who the opponent was going to be. And when they found out who it was, they died. That building died after Kurt made that announcement. Then, let's send out Chad Gable for this match. So it was library silent in there for most of the match until they got him into it at the end. Not because of any fault of their own, I don't think, but because that announcement just killed everybody dead. It killed their enthusiasm. But it was sad to watch Kurt also in there moving around like he was wrestling in quicksand. It just sucks to watch these guys get old. You could say the same thing about Undertaker. It sucks to get old. It really does. But even, just from his later days in Impact, with Kurt, the fall off in his matches in just, I'd say, the last 2 years has been very noticeable. It's like going back and watching Ric Flair in WWE in 2002, 2003. Just looking at him facially, and then looking at him only a few years later, it's like he aged 20 years in 5. Some guys, they just hit that point, and it's like the aging process just speeds up. And I think that's what we're seeing with Kurt Angle. So yeah, this is his final match. This rub that I still hear some people talking about, it doesn't exist. I said this last week. There is no rub left for him to give in terms of a one-on-one match. I mean, he could endorse somebody. He could go on to become some kind of a manager or like a storyline trainer or training partner or something. I think Kurt could contribute in ways like that. And I guess in that way, he could give rub to a newer guy. But in terms of him getting in the ring, he's going to give the rub to somebody. There's no rub left for him to give. To think otherwise misses the entire point. This is not about giving Baron Corbin a moment. This is about giving Kurt Angle a moment. Sometimes it's the opposite, where you want to put the new guy over and it's about making a new star. That's not what this is about. This should be about Kurt. Not about Corbin or anybody else. His last big moment. And he deserves for that last big moment to come against somebody the fans respect and they see at his level. So I hope they come to their senses and they change the match. They could still promote Kurt Angle against Baron Corbin, and even though they go through with it, have Kurt win in like a quick match, and then out comes John Cena for the impromptu match. But what a waste that would be not to get the great video package treatment to promote this match at WrestleMania, showing Cena's debut on SmackDown against Kurt, showing some of the other moments they've shared in the ring over the years, even the battle rap stuff from SmackDown back then. These guys have a history, and to not touch on it and let's just send him out there as a surprise, I mean, yeah, it'll get a nice surprise pop from the crowd at MetLife, but I think you're doing a disservice to the story if they don't take the time to tell it. Even if it is only 2 weeks, there's not a lot of time left before WrestleMania. They've really dropped the ball in the promotion of this show, and I'm going to run down the entire WrestleMania card later as things stand, because it's a big card. They've dropped the ball big time on the promotion for WrestleMania this year. It doesn't feel like a WrestleMania. But I really do. I really feel like they're doing a disservice to the story if they don't take the time to tell it. They had the perfect chance last Monday. Unless Cena's out filming a movie somewhere and couldn't physically be there. It's possible, I guess, but apparently it was never the plan for him to be there. So let's assume he was available. That would have been the perfect place to make it official. Bring him on out and make the match. But they snatched defeat from the jaws of victory, as they are known to do, and they just complicated things. Let's say they go ahead and now they change their mind and now we get Angle and Corbin, but then Cena comes out. Why does it always have to be so fucking convoluted? You were handed a very easy story here. Just play your cards. That's all you got to do. Sometimes the simple way is the way to go. You don't have to get totally, complicate the situation. Like the stuff with Kofi. I know there's some people who feel that's what they're doing with Kofi. I wouldn't go that far. I actually like what they're doing with Kofi Kingston right now. But when it comes to the women, there's another example. With Becky and Ronda and Charlotte, they can take something that just should sell itself and doesn't really have to be overcomplicated, and they feel the need to overcomplicate it for no reason. They shoot themselves in the foot. That's what they did here. Now they can fix this tomorrow night. Raw is in Boston. Another place that John Cena has a connection to. I hope they do the right thing. By the way, Kurt Angle's big WrestleMania opponent, Baron Corbin, got cradled and pinned by Apollo Crews later on in the same show.